Okay, you got one.
All right, you guys, once you're on the present of the slideshow, you're gonna look at your little foldable that we made, and you're gonna take out your scissors and your glue stick and your social studies learning log. We're gonna cut along the lines, but not all the way. Like, don't cut on the types of maps. Just cut up to it, okay? Yeah.
My two fingers barely fit in things.
They are kind of small, huh? All right, so once you're done cutting it, it should look like this because you're going to be stopping at that line. Okay? And you're going to glue on the back where it says types of math on the back, okay? Remember not to skip any pages in your social studies learning log either. Alright, so when it's in there, it should look like this. Yes, when you're done, glue it into your social studies learning log on the next page. But make sure these little foldables can be read because we're going to be writing underneath them. Perfect. So is everyone getting that glued in? Shane, let's get out our glue stick and start gluing that in, okay?
Where's this broken?
Yeah, once you're done gluing and cutting the foldable, you guys can put your art bags away. So once we're done with that, we're going to read about the maps, different types of maps, okay? We're going to keep our social studies learning logs out because we're actually going to be writing underneath those foldables. So you guys can look back and see different parts of different types of maps.
Okay.
I like how Bailey got hers cut and glued in and she's sitting quietly waiting for the next part of the lesson.
My legs.
Alright, I'm going to give you guys one more minute and then we're going to start reading this together, okay? Alright, so yesterday we looked at a map that showed us the different continents and the different oceans. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so you guys should know that there's a lot of different types of maps. So we can look at different types of maps for a lot of different reasons. So we have learned about different elements of maps, such as the compass rose, that's the northeast, west, south. That's where we get our never eat soggy waffles. The map title, map key, distance scale, and grid. But the real question is, why do we read maps? We read maps to gain information about a particular area on the Earth's surface. This information can range from the population of a particular area, the climate, the cities and states of a country, to the amount of resources an area has. The amount of information and types of maps are endless. When reading a map, we need to look for the following things. What is the purpose of the map? So if we're looking at this physical map, what do you guys think the purpose may be? Allie?
So that we can know like where the rivers are and where mountains are.
Yeah, so on a physical map, we have different elements such as rivers and elevation, mountains, different physical features that are being shown.
Yours is only like yellow and red. Mine looks like green.
Yeah, so on your PowerPoints, you guys have a little bit more detailed, so it's going to show up a little bit better on your Chromebooks, okay? Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so when looking at the map, we want to ask, what is its purpose? To do this, you need to look at the various different aspects of the map. You need to look at the title to see what the overall theme of the map is. So for this one, it is United States Physical Map. So we're going to be looking at the physical features of the United States. If you look at the title of the United States Physical Map, you can assume that this map is going to show you the physical features of the United States. After looking at the title, you want to look at other features on the map, such as the key. So we see that the key is right over here, and you guys can probably see that a little bit clearer on your computers, but that's going to let us know like what the different colors on the map mean, right? So we can see that like the higher elevations are going to be like darker. So after looking at the title, you want to look at the other features on the map, such as the key, the colors, the symbols, to decide what information they are providing. Look at the United States physical map again. We can determine that this map shows the physical features of the United States, such as mountains, rivers, and lakes. And we just talked about how it also shows the elevation. What features does the map show? After determining what the purpose of the map is, we want to look at the features the map shows. We look to see if the map is displaying either natural or human features. So when we're looking at maps, some of them are going to have natural physical features, such as the mountains, the rivers, the lakes, and then some are going to have human features, such as like borders and boundaries and different states, or even countries, depending on the type of map that you guys are looking at. And that just means that these states weren't naturally created. People founded them and made the borders to what they are, okay? So they're not just like naturally, that's just not naturally Louisiana. Someone had to come over here and then decide that this land is specifically Louisiana. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, like Louisiana could look like Texas.
Well, someone made Texas too, or someone decided that those are the boundaries of Texas. That's, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Natural features or physical features are anything that is naturally occurring, such as a river, mountain, forest, or lake. Yes?
Didn't Louisiana become an actual state in 1816?
That's a good question.
I think it was
You know what? I don't know the exact answer to that. We are going to learn about that though. These physical features are usually shown in different colors. Rivers and lakes are shown in blue. Places of low elevation are shown in a dark green. And as the elevation increases, the color becomes light green and eventually orange. So that's what we were talking about, how this is like a higher elevation area than like over here. Do you guys see that on your map? Okay, so human features are anything man-made. This includes the state and national boundaries of a place as well as the cities. So on some maps we can see like cities and capitals, and we'll actually see that more on the political map that we're going to look at. But those are all human features, okay? So let's look at the political map now. And this is going to show us more of some human features. Sometimes maps can show both physical and human features, but we usually pick the feature that is most dominant on the map. For example, the physical map of the United States has natural features such as mountains and rivers, but if you look back at the physical map, it also has some human features such as the borders that divide the different states, okay? So that's like an example of it showing both physical and human features. But since this is mostly focusing on the physical features, we would say that the main focus would be physical. Okay. For example, the physical map of the United States has natural features such as mountains and rivers, but it also has human features such as the borders. What would you use this map for? After looking at the map and the information that is presenting, you then want to determine what you would use this map for. For example, you could use the political map to determine what states border the state that you live in. You can also use the physical map to determine where the mountains are so you can go skiing. So a lot of people look at different maps when they're planning vacations or what sites to see. They can find that all on different maps. Yes, Lo?
What about Google?
I know, Google is the answer to everything nowadays. But some people don't have the luxury of Google, so these maps can really be important, especially
And they can also help them a lot.
when Google was not a thing.
Maps,
Google does have maps, and you can actually even look at Google Maps and see different features like this too. So what information have you learned from the map? The last question you want to ask yourself after looking at a map is, what information have I learned about this map? A great deal of information can be concluded by looking at a map. Sometimes you may determine a piece of information from a map to be more important than the person sitting next to you. For example, you may have learned by looking at the physical map that the middle of the United States is flat. So you guys can see that because the elevation is, not as high, right?
But Kansas?
No, on the physical map. But then if you go and you look at the political map, you can see that Texas, which is right here, Arkansas, and Mississippi border the state of Louisiana, which is where we live. By looking at maps, you can gain endless amount of information. Use the information that you have learned to answer questions about the map. After reading and gathering as much information you can about a map, you should be able to use that information to answer questions about the map or the area that you are looking at. For example, looking at the political map, you should be able to tell what the capital of the United States is. You should also be able to tell what two countries are bordering the United States. Looking at a map, you should be able to interpret and analyze the who, what, when, where, why, and how of a map. With time and practice, you will become successful at reading, interpreting, and analyzing maps for various forms of information. So we're going to look at a few different types of maps so you guys can become more familiar with each one, okay? So does anyone have any questions on reading a map? Does that explain it pretty well? Yes, Colton?
So when like back before Google and stuff were a thing, how would you okay, so you get a map, look, but then how would you travel there?
So there's maps that show different freeways and roads that you would look at. I know it seems kind of intense for us because now we just have the GPSs, but people really had to bring out their big map and look at the connecting freeways to get to the destination that they wanted.
It was like, so say they wanted to go to New York and they're all the way down in Florida.
They
So
would
there's
have to find it on the
there's a
map, yeah.
A road, like it's like a map full with like highways and roads.
Mhm.
No, do that.
Allie?
What are the different colors for?
I think that's just separating the different states, but does it say in the key? Yeah, it's just separating the different states so you can see them more clearer. Okay, so we're going to go over this. So get out your social studies learning logs. You should already have them out, actually.
I just realized on this map you can see how to get to New York and Florida.
Oh, can you see it on there?
Because if you look in the key and it says roads, the red lines are roads, you could just follow the road all the way to New York. But that
See?
would take like 14 million.
They have actual maps that show it more in detail, too.
Okay, y'all. Bad talking stop.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the physical map since we just did talk about the physical map.
To go back, you can press the back arrow on the keyboard. Like you want to go back to the physical.
All right, so we talked about the physical map showing the physical features, right? So who can tell me some physical features? Allie?
The Rocky Mountains.
Can someone name another physical feature, Will? It doesn't have to be specific, just mountains. Mountains are a physical feature. Kaden? Huh? Rivers, yes. Alec? Hills, yes, hills and mountains. Okay, so we're gonna look on here. If I can find the mouse. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, did Kaden Crawford? I did.
All right, so we are going to, we're going to flip over the physical little fold, and we're going to write under that this type of map shows the physical features of a place like rivers, mountains, forests, and lakes.
Bye, Kaden. Bye, Kaden. Bye, Kaden. Bye, Kaden. Bye.
So would you guys say that this map shows natural or human features?
Human features. No, natural.
Natural features. next map we're gonna look at is the political.
I thought we just were looking at
This is the physical. You see how it says, look at the title. Do we see the title on there?
my first one's the physical. Yeah, my first one says physical map.
So now we're gonna be looking at the political.
I still need to write it down.
Oh, okay. Here, let me put it back on there for you. So what is the purpose of a political map? Like, what would you look at a political map for?
Like roads?
What would you want to look at if you're looking at a political map?
Wait, political?
Yeah.
Hills. This one.
We said physical maps are going to have the natural features like the mountains and the hills, but we're on the political map. And Allie?
You can go back now.
Okay. Is everyone done writing that?
Hold on, I need to write.
Okay, well you guys have it on your Chromebook, so you can look at the political map. Allie?
On the political, you can look like where the capitals and the state, the national capitals and where the roads are and everything.
Yeah, so on the political map you can see the capitals and the cities and the different states, right? So are those human features or are those physical features?
Human.
Human features. Yes, because humans made them. Good job. All right, so we said that the political map shows the boundaries of countries, the state borders, the different cities and the capitals. So we're going to write that down now, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's blurry.
Okay, it should clear up if it freezes.
Yeah, y'all, like only for a second.
So it shows the boundaries of countries, states,
What's the second to last one?
counties or parishes, and cities. So me and Miss Protho were talking about this a little earlier. A lot of states have different counties, but here in Louisiana you guys have like different parishes. So we're in Bossier Parish, but when I was growing up, we lived in Ventura County in California.
What is that?
But it's kind of like the same thing. That says states. Here, I know it's kind of folding.
No, that's definitely boundaries of.
Shows the boundaries of countries, states, counties, and cities.
Okay, so the at kind of like that. The O, the A looks like a nose and then an A.
Okay.
You got me confused right there. What looks like an A?
So this map's useful so we can see the different areas in the different states, okay? All right, so the next map that we're gonna look at.
Wait, what is that all the way at, like, the line thing? Like,
Does anyone need more time writing this?
I did.
Okay. Marissa? Counties. So I was just saying how that's kind of like Bossier Parish. Like there's different counties or parishes within a state that cities are located in. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the slideshow. Alright, so this is a population density of the United States map. So this map is going to show us different populations throughout the United States. Okay, so we can see areas that are more populated, areas that are less populated. Some people may look at this map when they're trying to see, like, maybe if you're military, where you're PCSing next, or where you want to move. You're going to look at that to see how many people are in that area. Yes?
My dad and mom sister both active duty. Sometimes they have to PCS. So sometimes they pull up one of these.
Yeah, I've had to PCS and do the same thing. Alec?
It's like a half in the middle. Half of it. There's a lot of population.
Yeah, you guys can see, if you look at the key, it'll show you like what the different colors mean and the areas that are like more populated and less populated.
Boston has a lot.
Yes, Allie?
Is half of it yellow because it's like hot, like a lot of hotness?
So
Like cold?
we're gonna wanna look at that map key, and that's gonna tell us what the yellow means and what the other colors mean. But this specific map is not telling us about climate. This,
Under 2.5.
so yeah, so it's saying people. So population means how many people are in an area, okay? So this map is specifically measuring population. So how many people are in an area. So if you could look at there and you could say, oh, this area has more people than this area.
Why is half of it like light yellow and half of it's like dark and the other?
Because different areas have different populations. So they have different amounts of people in them.
Dallas.
So here, I'll show you. So when you're looking at your map, you're looking at your key. This is really important. The map key is really important when you're looking at a map because that tells you what you need to know about that specific map. And also looking at the title. So we need to look at the title every time we look at a map because although they may look similar, they're telling us different things. Yes.
Sometimes when I read like map titles, I think it's something else than it really is. Because when it said density, I thought of weather.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you made it like a.
And I thought of weather, but then you started talking, and then I looked at the key, and you started talking about all the people.
Yeah, so that's why we're using this little foldable in our social studies learning logs, because that's going to tell us the different vocabulary.
And if you look in really closely, it says people per square kilometer, and that's another way how I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, because you have to look at those key features of a map, such as the map key. Okay, so we're going to write in here that the population density map shows the population density of different places in the U.S. And remember that population means how many people. So you're really looking at this map and it's showing you how many people are in specific areas, okay?
Can we put USA or the?
You could put either one. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions on it to just make sure that you're understanding it, okay? So can someone tell me what the purpose of this map is? Molly.
It's to show physical features that are mountains, rivers, lakes.
Of the population density map. Of the one that we're looking at right now. Are you on the population density?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
To show how many people that live in the place.
Yes, so this map is to show how many people are living in specific areas of the United States, okay? So you really, Molly, want to focus on that title so you know which map, okay? So the one that you're describing is the physical map, because that's going to show us the physical features, okay? So what kind of features are shown on this? Does this map show us human features or physical features? Does anyone know if this shows us physical features or human features? Colton?
I think human features
Mm-hmm.
because it's saying that all the humans are like where all the humans are.
Yeah.
And like you could look on this because if you wanted to move somewhere during COVID, you would want to look at one of these because then you would go to the least amount of people if you wanted to move somewhere new.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good. Yeah, I would definitely want to look at that if I was moving during COVID. Allie?
Another thing for the population map is that you can see that human it's kind of, well, population means how many people are in that area. So you would think that it is human.
Yeah, good job. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the territorial. Did everyone finish writing this down? Can I change it back?
No,
Yes.
no. No.
I'm done.
All right.
What's aquatorial?
So we're just going to look at this and then we'll come back to that. Okay, so this is the territorial acquisitions map. Okay? So this specific map shows us what areas the United States has acquired throughout time. Okay? So it's basically land that the United States has claimed over the years. So we can see that the Louisiana Purchase was acquired, I think it said 1803 by the French, right? Can you see that? It's kind of small on your map. You can see it better on your Chromebook. So this map is telling us different areas that we've claimed over time, okay? Colton.
When I looked at this, I thought it would be like, because it says aqua in it, I thought it would be like water.
Yeah, some of these words are harder words, but that's why we want to look closely at the maps because they show us exactly what they're looking for, okay? So can someone tell me what the purpose of this map is? Molly.
To show us what we can.
Yes, to show us what areas we've claimed and when we claimed them, right? Does this map show natural or human features? So remember, natural is physical features and human is like human-made features. Allie. Why do you think it shows natural?
It might because, well, it's mainly talking about the humans because it's talking about when, like, how they were purchased and, like, when they were purchased and stuff.
Yeah, so what kind of features is that? Human, yes. So this map shows us human features. And when would this map be useful? Allie.
To know to know when they were purchased, like if my mom is now a math teacher, so she kind of has to know where everything
because if I was born in Texas, so we didn't know if like Louisiana was purchased yet, and my mom she had to know like when they were purchased and how they were purchased before we moved over here.
Yeah, so this is important when we're trying to see the land that was acquired during a certain time period. So you'll see this during history and social studies a lot. Okay?
In seventh grade, yes. Seventh grade and sixth grade, yes.
So who can tell me a land that you see on your map that was claimed? Colton? The Louisiana Purchase? Claimed in 1803. Does anyone see a different one? Alex? Florida? What does it say under that one? When was it claimed? Awesome. Okay. And Allie, do you see another one?
Texas.
And what does it say under that one?
1819.
Okay. So we're going to write on here, under the territorial acquisitions, we're going to write that this type of map shows us the land.
Can you switch it It's not on the
Oh,
document.
thank you. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so we're going to put that this shows us the land that was acquired by the United States.
Could you write that was purchased by the U.S.? So we have to write acquired.
I would put acquired. That way you can kind of understand the title a bit more too. Okay, yeah, you guys have a few more minutes of writing, okay? Do we have any questions on the territorial acquisitions map? Or does everyone understand that? No questions? Okay, we're good. Are we done writing?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, so then we'll go and we're going to compare two different maps, okay? So these are going to be climate maps, right? Do we see that? Where it says climate maps, if we're looking at the title, we're comparing climate maps. So who knows what this state is?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Who knows?
That's good.
Not Nebraska. Dayton.
That is.
Let's look at the title. Annual Yearly Precipitation for Nevada.
I said that first.
Okay. So this is the state of Nevada and this is Louisiana. And over here is our key, okay? So you can see that Louisiana is green, right? It's really green in that picture. And then Nevada is more of like the red, orangey colors.
Separate the mic and Bailey,
Oh,
so they can hear it on the speaker.
Yeah, it's making weird sounds.
Yeah.
sorry. All right, let me get that up. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then you can see that Nevada is more of the orangey color, right? So if we look over here, it's important to know that precipitation is talking about rain, okay?
Oh, right.
So, and in this key, it's saying precipitation in inches, so rainfall in inches, right? So in the green areas, they're going to have a lot more rainfall than the darker areas, right? So what can we conclude by looking at this map about the precipitation? Well,
My thing froze.
It's on there.
Wait,
Yeah, but it's okay. Y'all have to read them out. Okay.
Allie.
how I know this is how many inches of rain they have, and it looks like Louisiana has way more than.
Yes, it does. So, by looking at the key and looking at this map, we can conclude that Louisiana definitely gets a lot more rainfall than Nevada, right?
I would like to see Texas compared to California in rainfall.
I know. So, it's also important to realize that climate is talking a map that's talking about climate. You're looking at a map that's talking about weather in a specific area. So Nevada is actually very close to California. Okay?
I've been to Nevada. I think.
So Nevada is like where Las Vegas is.
I've been to
But California is like really close, and that's where I'm from. So I'm used to this kind of weather, like the dry heat. We get
lucky.
we
It
get-
always rains here.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of rain. We seriously probably get like
5 and less.
2 weeks total of rain. And when we get rain, it's very like not a lot. It's not a lot.
We get like a whole day of rain.
I don't know if you guys heard, but California was in a drought for a long time because we didn't get enough rain. So yeah, you guys are lucky over here in Louisiana.
It's funny because it's so hot in Louisiana, it's like the devil's outfit.
Yeah, so it's
And
different
they were
types
so
of heat
beautiful.
depending on where you are. So in Louisiana, we get a lot of heat, but we also get humidity. So it's kind of like a sticky heat.
Yeah.
But in like California and like Nevada, you get heat, a lot of heat, but it's like a drier heat. It feels different. Dayton.
Isn't it like California having like a wildfire?
Yeah, so that's a good point actually, because it is so dry in these areas. Instead of getting like hurricanes like we experience here in Louisiana, we get a lot of wildfires. So while I was growing up, we were evacuated almost every single year because of a fire. Because we live in the mountains and there's a lot of dryness and brush and things that catch on fire really quick. Allie?
But like, if it doesn't rain like the same day, we like get the water hose and start spraying everybody with it if we're outside because it's all hot over here.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions about these maps also, just so you guys I can see that you guys are understanding it, okay? So, which state of the two receives the most precipitation? Bailey.
What'd you say?
Which state, Louisiana or Nevada, receives the most precipitation?
Louisiana.
Yes, Louisiana. All right, and how would you describe the difference in climate between Louisiana and Nevada? Allie?
That it does not rain as much as
Yes.
Nevada than here.
Good job. Okay, so we're gonna pull back our climate tab, and we're gonna write that climate map
Make sure you're writing.
shows areas which receive more rainfall or snow,
Or fire.
or which
Has it even snowed here?
have dry weather. You guys should be writing. It comes with practice.
You have to practice to write a lot. Can you be your finger, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So does everyone feel like they have a good idea of the different types of maps that we went over? Does anyone have any questions on any of the maps or any clarification needed? Allie?
Wildfires did y'all have in California?
Honestly, too many to count. Yeah. Yep, just like there's a hurricane season, there's definitely like a drier fire season out there. We did. We live in
Are your
mountains.
parents from California?
Well,
Did you ever have to did your house ever burn down from fire?
it did not, but one year it did get very close.
Oh, that must have been scary.
Are you guys all done writing?
No.
All right, I'll leave this up here for the ones that need a little bit more time.
We have 8 more minutes until
It worked.
What did?
This program. Is there anything else you want to do?
You just got right.
Allie?
On the participation maps, how do you know how many if there wasn't a key, how would you know how much rainfall and stuff?
We wouldn't. Without a key, we wouldn't know. That's why the map keys are so important, because there's what gives us the information that we need to read the map. Alec? You said Nevada did? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Nevada.
Nevada.
A lot of rain.
So in Nevada, it shows that it doesn't get too much rainfall. Louisiana up here is where you see that key where it tells us it has 80 to 100 inches of rainfall.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so that's going to be having more rainfall.
do you have the weather app or something? How it shows red. If it's
Oh
really
yeah. So
Yeah,
Alec
it
was
shows
saying
the-
how the weather apps show us the different colors also. So yeah, and they also have little keys that tell us what the different colors mean. Colton.
On the population map, how do they know how many people are in what area? Do they count them all?
So every year they put up a estimate on how many people, but I'm not really sure how they determine that. Probably by addresses and when you move, you have to register that you moved. So they probably count it by that.
Oh, maybe that every time somebody votes, they'll say, oh, so, and you can only vote once. So, if everybody could vote, even little kids, that's another way that you can know, because then you can keep track of how many people in Louisiana there are in what places, because you'll know who voted and where.
Dayton? Forgot your question?
Your parents still live in California.
All right, you guys. Well, if you're done, then you guys can close up your social studies learning logs and put those away. And pack up, right?
Yeah, so you pack up your reading passage goes in your social studies pocket.
The reading log goes in your social studies pocket, okay, you guys? And it's important to remember that you guys have a quiz on Tuesday. So bring those social studies learning logs home. And then everything's on your Google Classroom. You guys can look at there, all the reading logs on there. So if you forget anything at school, everything should be on your Google Classroom. So make sure you're studying that for your quiz on Tuesday, because we don't have school on Monday.
Wait, one sec. Good job.
Thank you.